Hello, and welcome to Overcome, a mental health podcast, a place where you can share your stories and we discuss all things mental health. I'm here today with Nick Nierras. Nick is the founder of Nick Nierras Holistic Lifestyle, a coaching platform dedicated to helping individuals achieve balance, success, and inner peace through holistic methods. Nick, welcome to the show.
Wow, Travis, thank you so much for having me and thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Yeah.
And saying hi to all of your listeners as well.
And I think we're just going to go ahead and turn the time over to you and have you share your story.
Okay. Okay, Travis. I don't know if you read my profile, but to all of you listening, to you too, Travis, I was the accountant. Okay, I was an overachiever since I was a kid, and my dad used to tell me this, Nick, knowledge is power. The key to changing your life is education. Therefore, although I cannot give you the riches in the world, but what I can give you is the education. And it is up to you to do something with it. And so that's what I did. And it came with both good and bad. Now, the good part is that it made me really strive to be the best that I could at school. But the bad thing was I tied my self worth to the achievements or to the A's that I could get. And don't get me wrong, we have this reward system where I get, a certain number of A's and then my dad would give me something. Now, that is a good push or motivation for me to do better. But then brought that with me to my working world. And that did not serve me well because imagine having this mindset since I was a kid, thinking that if only I could work this much, like I give 110%, I'll definitely get back 110%, no questions asked. But as we all know, life is not linear that way. So I left school I left home at 17. And so I pursued my tertiary education. I went to university. And at the time, I really wanted to go and earn, my own money and get the bag as early as I could. So I entered the workforce at 19 in the corporate world and I started making my way up the corporate ladder. So for so between 19 to 30, I saw myself climbing up. But in between that, there were a lot of things that happened. So, mind you, when I was growing up, I had my whole life planned out, at least until I was 30. But then after that, I thought that, life stops at 30 and then it kind of plateaus like that. But it's not. So for me, because coming from that accounting background, you've always wanted to, take into account all the risk involved, uh, basically try to plan out and calculate those things. And so I said, okay, I wanted to hit this amount of money, get this, at least, whatever, the car that I wanted, the house that I wanted, at least by a certain age. And I did, I was checking off all the boxes. But then what I ignored was my true self. How did I know that? When I was 26, so I fell in love and got married to my then ex-husband, to my now ex-husband. And I thought that okay, by 30 I should be settled, I should have kids, I should have my, great job, great car and everything, all the material possessions. And I got married when I was 27 and then things did not pan out, at least in the relationship part. And we decided to part ways 2 years after. And that's when I really started thinking that, okay, life is actually harder than I thought. I thought if you just worked and probably jump companies, you'll get the increment, you'd get the position, you'd get more exposure. Yes, it is like that, but then it is not as simple as that. And so going into that with this mindset of, okay, if I want it, I got it. And this is the first time universe is showing me, okay, Nick, life, you don't get what you want all the time. And in the love department, I thought I failed. So I shifted my focus entirely to the thing that I, do the best, which is studying and working. And I did not process the grief with the loss of the relationship. And I went straight into working mode. And at the time, COVID happened. So, as it had impacted me, I'm sure it has impacted so many people around the world. That period forced me to sit with myself and really process all the feelings that I suppressed before. And those feelings were, who am I if I am not loved? Why do I feel worthless? That because you've given your heart and soul to somebody, you devoted, and then things did not work out. Then, of course, you're going to start questioning your beliefs. And at the same time, it was at the height of my career. COVID happened. Things started falling apart at work, at my work too. And I said, okay, that's when I kind of lost my self identity because I used to tie myself to these achievements that I've gotten before. Now that I don't have this anymore, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I have a sense of control over the outcome of my life. I started questioning who Nicolette was. And that actually started my whole journey of looking within, spiritually, going into astrology, astronomy, Jungian psychology, everything, tarot reading. And I was just trying to grasp in the dark, like, who is Nicolette and what would Nicolette look like in the next phase of her life. To be honest, I really didn't know that I could get myself out of that pit, that black hole. And in 2021, that was the first time I came across this post by Mind Valley. It is a hypnotherapy course, Rapid Transformational Therapy by Marisa Peer. And then I saw the power of subconscious reprogramming. So, whatever beliefs that you have today, the feeling of worthlessness that you feel, that you're not good enough, you're not lovable enough, was actually tied to something that you have absorbed probably growing up, or somewhere along the lines of you um, pursuing something that may not be aligned to your true purpose. And in 2021, I saw it, but I hesitated because, being in corporate, why am I considering this? And it was, to me at the time, was a waste of time because that means slowing down. Now, if you're so used to grinding and churning, trying to churn, trying to get the productivity score up, and I equated that to just working, working, working. The whole point of just being still so that you can rest and recharge so you can, bounce further. It didn't make sense to me. And so I stopped. I waited again. 2 years after that, I saw the exact same post. But then between 2021 to 2023, things did not get better. Things did not get better. It got worse. So I said, okay, okay, just okay, give me something. I was asking God, like, give me something. What is this? And so I saw the same post again 2 years after that, and it was a course. The price was definitely much higher than before. The real reason why I had to reconsider the first time when I saw it, because that means paying for another course which is so much more. It was expensive, and why would I do that? I've already attained this accountancy and membership, and pivoting to another direction is just, it doesn't, it's just senseless. And so when I saw the same post, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this as a sign from the universe. And so I did. I signed up when I saw it. And then at the time, because the work was really the work that I had at that job, it was really great in terms of the payment, the payout, but then my self-worth was like really battered because there was just everything was just wrong in the eyes of my bosses. And it's like every time I tried to do something, okay, I blame myself for not being able to deliver. And then, in hindsight, it is actually everybody's just processing their own internal, these are all projections. And when I realized that, I remember saying, okay, let me give this a try. I'm going to do it as a side hustle first, which is this hypnotherapy. And but how do I convince people if I cannot even convince myself that that people would actually pay me to help them with their issues? And that's what got me into podcasting. What am I so good at? What is natural to me that I don't need to, that it doesn't have to feel like work? And it was talking that came very natural to me. And so I said, okay, what's the freeway, like how, what's the fastest way that I could get my voice out there or just connect with people? And that's podcasting. And so I started the first podcast. So I signed up for the course in February 2023. In June 2023 I started my first podcast. And to my surprise, there were a lot of people resonating with that message, the title even. And then I started saying to myself, okay, maybe there's something here. People want to hear what I want to say, what I had to say. And I could actually talk to somebody halfway across the world and they would be telling me their own stories and say, okay, let me do this. And at this time, I was juggling my full time job, studying, and at the same time, podcasting. And so when you are really invested in something that you like and it feels effortless to you, all the other avenues you'd sort of like let go. Especially with me, I know I'm driven if it lights up my soul, and what lights up my soul, which is talking. And my work had to started taking a back seat, and the podcasting was like taking charge, and the studies I was like putting it on the back burner until 2024 last year. The company had a restructure and they officially eliminated my role, and so I was laid off. And I was at the tail end of my studies, and it was like sort of a wake up call from the universe saying, okay, Nick, enough is enough. You are here to do what you need to do, and therefore you don't want to leave. I'm going to take this away from you. And it's been 1 year now. Between then and now, I made some big changes, made some big moves in my life, and here we are, Travis.
That's yeah, it's and you had, as you were speaking, a couple thoughts came to my mind. First, I feel like at least in the United States, we're taught that the corporate lifestyle is the way we should go. We're taught like from a young age that we should basically be sitting in a desk, be doing what we're told, and not to really sometimes, I don't know if this is the right way of saying it, but I think you'll get what I'm saying. Not to always like think for ourselves, and then they put all this pressure on us. So, and I think that's where that kind of self worth, kind of imposter syndrome type stuff of not being able to perform kind of comes into play.
And it's been indoctrinated since we were kids. Now I was pretty privileged in a way that I got exposed to the Western culture since I was very young. And so unknowingly I too took the belief that, okay, this is the way forward. This is, if I want to be quote unquote rich, this is the only way. And it took a toll on me, on my mental health. And it's like Nicolette, I had to lose Nicolette. It's like I lost my sense of self first. And then just realizing that was the first step into really uncovering who I am and what am I here on earth to do. And it's a tough process, Travis. I wouldn't it's easy. It's easy in a sense that, okay, you need to peel off the layers that you've sort of put on yourself, the society has put on you, your parents and whatnot. But the fact that because you're buried like deep down in all those beliefs, and for you to climb out of that, it takes a lot of courage and bravery, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does. And I don't want to speak too negatively of the corporate world right now because I'm still in it still right now
I
for
mean, I
like
don't know if
yeah.
I'm not saying like
Oh no.
X bye bye to corporate
No,
world
no, no,
forever, Nicolette, because
no. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But no, I get what you're saying, like trying to find yourself. And why do you think that so many like high achieving individuals like suffer from issues with self worth?
Whew. Okay. I want to connect this to imposter syndrome, I
Okay.
would say. So everybody is out there to become better, at least, okay, in some way, shape, or form. Now, people in corporate world, if in this context, naturally you want to move up the ladder, you want to, bring the bag home, bring the bacon home, and with that comes, more responsibility. So heavy is the what was the phrase? Heavy is the head who wears the crown, right? Now, if you are not certain with yourself, like who you are, so say Nicolette, if I want to join a corporate world, I have to come in. If I don't shed all the limiting, all the beliefs that I had before, that I'm only going to be important or deemed to be important if I could provide or if I could achieve a certain status in the eyes of my family members, for example, or my friends. Now, what does that mean? It means that you are basically worried about the perception of others towards you. And if you first are impacted by the way that other people are viewing you, that means the movements you're going to make, the decisions you're going to make are going to be based on them, not on your true self. Now, okay, we could see this from so many angles. So if, let's say, if you are a breadwinner, of course, naturally, this is what you want to do because you want to support the family, right? But what I'm trying to say here is that when you are pursuing something in life, your job or your business or a hobby, okay, a hobby is less stress because a hobby is a hobby. It's where it's an outlet for you to let your creativity just flow. But in terms of whatever that you're pursuing in life, I want people to ask themselves, is this taking me is this bringing me closer to my higher self? And what does higher self mean? Travis. Self means if your nervous system is not feeling safe, if you are anxious about anything, when you're about to have, let's say, okay, I saw this movie just a couple of days back, and there's this guy. So he's out. He loves traveling, but he also has to work 9 to 5 while he is traveling. And his boss is just constantly hounding him. Okay, I need the did you get the KPI that you're tasked to do? You can tell that he actually wants to enjoy himself during the trip, but at the same time, there's this pushback from the boss is saying, okay, I need you to take down this key deal at let's say at a resort. But that key deal actually goes against his values. So for example, he loves, okay, if I if I'm just gonna be honest, this is let's say it's a place where you conserve nature, okay? Marine
Hmm.
Conservation Center. And so the boss is asking you to close the marine down. Now, if it clashes with your values, I have to ask you, are you gonna stand up for what you think is right? Or are you gonna go ahead and support your boss with that decision? Now you have to decide, right?
Hmm.
What is for your highest good? So what are you gonna do, Travis?
Me, I want to say I would stand up for what I think is right, like what I believe
Right.
in.
Right. And people listening to us, they're probably going to say, "Oh, it's easy for Nick to say because okay, what happens if I get fired if I don't do that?" Naturally, okay. Okay, I know this is very reckless to say, then let it be. I don't want you to do that. But first, I want you to find out, ask your boss, hey, this is not the right way. I think we should find another way to do it, find another avenues to do it, partner with the Marine or the center, whatever. And see it and discuss with them, go to the board and present what are your ideas. Now, if you still get pushback, you'll know it's your nervous system is going to say to you, this is not serving, you are not aligned, and you need to go and do something about it. And the key is in your hands, Travis. You either, to me, because I cannot stand injustice, okay? And I feel that if I could leave the world a much better place than how I came into it, that means I've already created a legacy, even if it means helping one person. And so, and how I do that, how am I gonna be, how do I make myself very comfortable that I can sleep better at night, knowing that I have actually done what I'm meant to do? And that means setting up for what I believe is right. So the next step is finding out, strategizing what are you going to do next, that okay, you are not aligned with the values of your companies anymore. You need to find a new job, for example, or you need to find your own entrepreneurship ventures that you want to join. And most people in the working world right now in corporates, some are on a different journey, some are thinking, some are thinking to move, some are stuck because of, financial obligations and stuff. So I want to invite you to think about what are the next steps, the strategies that you can do, or where you want to go first. Spend extra time finding out the things that you want to do most, see how you can monetize it. And we're so abundant in terms of information here. You have podcasts, you have YouTube, you have ChatGPT, you have, okay, I don't really use Google now because I rely on yeah.
I'm the same
Yeah,
way.
yes. And so I don't want you coming to me and saying that I cannot make this happen. And that's why there are people like, coaches and mentors out there that have actually lived the life that you wanted to live, or they've made the decisions that you want to make in the future. They will be able to show you the way, show you the ropes. And the first step, I think, Travis, is to just set your mindset right. Align your head and your heart. Because if you're consciously thinking, and I'm not going to get paid, how am I going to support my family? That means you're thinking from here. And that's the fear mindset. What's the opposite of that? Opposite of fear mindset is what? Love, right? Love mindset. And fear is equivalent to scarcity. Love is equivalent to abundance. There's always, everybody can have, I call this, we all can have our own cake. We all have that pie. We can get a slice of that pie. So if you're coming to me and saying that I'm gonna join this industry, is gonna be totally different from what I did before, go do it. Go do your research. Do your research and then figure out the step by step. Now, this could span between 1 year to 5 years even, but make it clear to yourself, make the decision, discuss with your significant other if you need to, and then take that step one by one. So that is what I can give right now. I mean, and then you said about the part where why do people feel that their self-worth is tied to their achievements, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because all this indoctrination since you were kids, and especially for men are not allowed to be vulnerable about their feelings. Men are not allowed to voice out because that would seem that they are not masculine enough to carry the family through whatever challenges that they have. But men have feelings too. Men are humans. And the same goes for women. There's so many nuances that we could talk about, but at the moment I feel the veil is being lifted. People are waking up to their true essence. And I feel that you're going to see this happening in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I can see that too. I think there's a lot of people kind of coming to like a light and being like, you know what, I'm more than this. I can do way more with myself, and that's kind of a reason why I started my podcast. Is because
Mm.
one, I wanted to help people, and I like to talk and I like to listen to other people's stories as well. But it's also like me trying to kind of better myself and actually kind of, I guess, get away from the corporate world. I don't want to say it too
Right?
much because it's like,
Because you're
sorry,
still in there.
yeah,
You're
I'm
still
still
in
in
there.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But it's the crucial transitionary period that you're having right now. And it's like you know that your soul is calling you to do this, but you're also aware that
Mm-hmm.
Your one of your 1 feet is still in, one
Mm-hmm.
foot is still in there, and one foot is already out, and you're just sort of testing the waters. But then I can tell you, in the next 1 year to 2 years, Travis, you're probably gonna find this more enjoyable. It's not gonna feel like, okay, I'm gonna say it's gonna not gonna feel like work. The talking part is excellent. I love it too. But the work comes after that, the post production. But then I said to myself, now, if I'm already giving 200% at work and I know I'm good at that, imagine what I could do if I'm giving that back to my work that is serving the people that I actually want to
Yep.
serve.
Yep. I agree. I love it. And you
Right?
you spoke about instead of living out of fear, living out of love, and having an abundant life. Uh, how do you define an abundant life, and how can people like begin aligning with living an abundant life?
Abundance. Abundance, number one thing that comes into mind is money. Money is important. I
Mm-hmm.
love money. I'm not going to say that I don't love money. I love money, but the love of money is not right. Now, money is a tool for us to amplify. So, money to me is just an amplification of who we really are. How much money you have in the bank account, $1 or $1 million, if you have that, it's just going to amplify who you are. So, if you're charitable, if even if you have nothing, if you have $1 million, you're going to be more of that. If if you have zero or $2 in the bank account, and you're not you're not a good person, um my chances are you're not going to be a good person when you have that money, right? So abundance to me, Travis, and I think a lot more people are aligning to this definition, is just number one, having inner peace with yourself wherever you are in the stages of your life. That means, do you have how okay, so for example, if there are people around you, say, I'll just take myself as an example. Now, I'm in this entrepreneurship journey for a year now. Not to say that it is is a walk in the park. It's not rainbows and sunshine. I can tell you that there are days I'm so used to getting stable paycheck, and it's not stable for me at the moment. One time I have one moment I have a client, and then another month I don't have. And that means what? That means I have to adjust myself with the uncertainty. But the key thing here, Travis, do I let that affect my inner emotion? I don't. Yeah, I don't. So if even if the world is in chaos, if my inner world is at peace with where I'm at and what I'm building towards, I'm at peace with that. That is abundance already. Number one, you can sleep at night knowing that universe has got your back. You're supported. Now, I want to say to you, whatever you said, whatever that actually, the fact that I'm here right now, I've actually prayed for it before. Don't you think so? Where you are at the moment, I think you talking, setting up a podcast, somehow you prayed for it.
Yeah,
Somehow.
yeah. I'm a big believer in prayer and that type of
Right.
like.
Yeah, you prayed for
So
it. No,
yeah, I totally
yeah,
agree. Yeah,
exactly. And when I want to expand on that, prayer also means like you manifested somehow. And like I remember saying this to myself, I want to work hard so that I could actually have my own business. I didn't know what the own business is going to look like, but here I am having my own business. So whatever that you say or whatever that comes up to mind, actually universe is always hearing you. And the more you cultivate the good in your head, the abundance that you have, the more the universe is going to present them to you. And abundance is number one, I have the roof over my head. I still have food. Now I needed to make big changes. So now I used to live in the city, Kuala Lumpur. Now I had to move back to my parents' place. And I want to say to people out there, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Because you're building yourself up. At least for me, I'm building myself up. I'm stabilizing myself in terms of my business. And I get to be with my family again. So I think the key is also to look for the silver lining amidst all the challenges that you have now. And if you really sit with yourself and really have that conversation with the universe, they're actually supporting you every step of the way. And for people saying, okay, now coming back to your question, how do they align with that? Number one, I think energy is the most important currency. It's no longer money. Money is also an energy, right? But your own energy, the people that you allow access to your energy field, your auric field, is so important. And abundance means having great friends that shares the same frequency as you are, being in the same community, talking to the same people. Have you ever noticed that when you feel like leveling up or you feel like your vibration is changing, your body's changing, automatically you want to be healthier? Automatically you know how to discern which one is a good friend, which one is not a good friend. You
Yeah,
become
I've
smarter,
noticed that.
you
Yeah.
become sharper, and you become wiser. And now, not to say that you're a bad friend, but then they just don't resonate with you anymore. And that is abundance too, because you're leveling up, and that means shedding your old life. That is abundance too, Travis. And as you inch closer towards your truest purpose, this would come naturally. And the more you are the closer you are to the light, the darker it would be. How Okay, let me explain that. Because the dark is always, you can see, the light is the brightest when it's the darkest, right? The lighter you are, the bigger your opposition. And that's why people that's the activists, people that do not share the same values as them, they'll get a lot of pushback. But when you get a lot of pushback, you know deep down that you're actually on the right path. And trust, I would say, trust in the universe, that trust in the process, that you actually have got it. So the key to that is surrounding yourself, be so strong internally, and surrounding yourself with the right people is the key to being abundant.
So I love it. I love it. So many good things that I get from here. And I'm like, you know what? Now I need to find a way to implement this type of stuff in my life. I mean, I could probably, like, with the people I've, spoke to on this podcast, I could probably start writing a novel on all the different
Yes,
bits of information
exactly.
I have.
Yes, and publish it.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about, like, about imposter syndrome. Someone who's suffered from imposter syndrome or self-doubt for years, how do they start rebuilding trust in themselves?
I love that. I love this topic. So let's start with defining what imposter syndrome is. Now, imposter means a fake. It's imposter, right? So this could manifest in the sense, or most cases, this is manifested through a keynote. For example, I love to use this analogy. For somebody who's actually a CEO, now from the outside world, oh my God, people would think that he or she has no fear at all. But she has no fear at all. She must have gone through so many trials and tribulation to get to where she is now. And right now she's invincible. But the truth is, every time this person wakes up in the morning, he or she will still feel that same feeling. Oh, last week, she's spoken to 5,000 people. This week she's going to speak to another 10,000, and then another 20,000 people. And for those attending, you're just going to be in awe, like, oh my God, they're killing it. What do they do? But truth to be told, Travis, that same person is also human. They're gonna have, they have, I can tell you, and I have it too, fears. Like, I've spoken to, okay, not so many at the moment, I think less than 20 podcasts guesting as a guest. I have that same jittery feeling every time I get up and talk to somebody new. And imposter means you're so scared that you are a fake. People will find out that you're a fake. And that's what imposter means. And you start doubting it. And this is so prevalent to all those high achievers, because there's nobody around, there's nobody in their circle that's actually done that. And for them, they need to be subjected to something so rigorous for them to be where they are. But actually they've already done it. They've passed all of that. They've shown their track records have actually shown them that they've actually earned this spot. Now, trusting themselves means, again, coming back to aligning your heart and your mind. Your heart says, okay, what is the purpose that I'm doing at this point? If I know that I have a message that I need to tell people, share with people, and help them, I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to focus on the people who's going to come up to me and say, Nick, you're going to be talking to 10,000 people tomorrow. How are you feeling? Okay, I feel okay. Even in the slightest moment, I would probably think at least some moments that, oh, what if I fail this? What if people are going to find out that I'm a fake? But those are actually just chitter chatters from the projections of your old self that you feel that Nick is not cut out for this. And you have to prove and prove and prove that you are actually enough. But truth of the matter is, Travis, to begin with, you prepared for yourself. You prepared for this moment all your life. And the more you step into your purpose, the bigger the dark forces would be. I can say that. And these, if you just position yourself, put that into perspective in that way, the next thing is just to focus on your purpose and what are you trying to say and deliver to the world. And then number two comes the application of it. I mean, just your mindset is, okay, I'm gonna take them as just one person. This is how I deal with my imposter syndrome. I'm going to take you as a person that I have a coffee chat with, or in front, especially if I'm talking to a large crowd. This is just whatever projections that they have upon me and all the pushback that they have upon me. It is actually not me. I'm going to deal with that with my level best at that point. But after that, okay, I'm not going to equate things that I don't know. Say, for example, I get ready. I'm 2000%. I'm so hyped up. But then comes one person in the audience saying, "Okay, Nick, how do we solve this?" I don't know how. And you know, this is one way imposter syndrome could show up for me. But then I would say confidently say, "Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have the answer to that right now." And that's also the key, being authentic, showing people who you really are, which is you're a human. It's not possible to have all the answers to the question unless I'm AI, I'm half AI now, then probably I'd be able to do that. You can, subject me to all sorts of scrutiny and interrogation if you want. But then at the end of the day, I'm still human, and being compassionate to yourself that you're that. And number two is also, so confidence is not it's not something that you earn. It's something that you take one step and then another step and then another step. That is how confidence is built. Just look at you, Travis. Take you as an example. The first time you started a podcast and now I think your confidence had gotten better, right?
Yeah, it's 100% increased. Like it's
Right. So
my sorry. My
yeah,
I remember
people,
my first episode, it was just bad.
and we all had that too. I had that too. And confidence is, people like to glorify this word confidence and say, oh, it's a destination that I need to get to. But actually it's not. It's the action that you take now. And it's the becoming confident. It's a byproduct. And so I would urge people tuning in today, guys, you don't say, how do I get more confident? The key is, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you in on the secret. It's taking persistent, consistent action. And you can do that with yourself or learn from somebody online or get somebody to help you, be your guide, like a coach or a mentor. So, yes,
And I will say that confidence is something that you have to continually work on to build up.
absolutely. It's a lifelong journey for confidence. And tomorrow morning, if I wake up, I hope so. I'm gonna still have this imposter syndrome, but then I'm gonna know how to manage it better because I'm not gonna let that define me. I'm gonna trust myself that hey, I'm where I'm meant to be and I'm working towards that. And understanding and accepting that I'm working or walking towards my light, and therefore there are other people who will not be in the same path as me, and some may support, some may not. And I'm completely okay with that because everybody's on their own journey. But I'm not gonna let that define who I am and let me lose sight of what I'm supposed to do. So yeah.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. You've kind of been like on this transformation journey in the last few years, like between the corporate world and coaching. Has there, like, on that path, has there been any belief that you've had to let go to become the of yourself that you are today?
So many beliefs that I am not good enough to be provided for, that I have to work X times hard to get to where I am, to get something that I wish to. And how, and number three is Nicolette is not good enough to be speaking to people around the world. Now, I can tell you, it's just been 2 years for me podcasting and just 1 year in as an entrepreneur. And I could tell you, we pick up vibes very easily. You can tell with somebody, people don't say it to your face, but then you can sort of get the feeling from them, like this hesitation or this, I don't want to say disgust, but like them just projecting their insecurities, like what is she doing? Who does she think she is? Or how she's not gonna make it. Just put it that way. She's not gonna make it. Yeah. And I had to sit with that, with those beliefs, or because I'm naturally very intuitive, so I'm very close to some of my friends, and you can pick that up. Now I had to learn to discern whether it is my feelings or their projection. That's when I need to really discern. And the key to that, to me, discerning that is number one, coming back to what it is that I'm here to do, what sings to my heart, and that is helping people. Now, I never knew that coaching could be a job. And again, I want to tell people out there it's not a walk in the park, but it is something that I want to give back to the world. You sleep better when you give than receiving something. And the key to, I saw this reel from Tony Robbins. He said, how do you attain happiness? He put it simply, whenever you do something for yourself, it's not sustainable. But when you do for others and you wake up and you do things for others, that is what lights you up. That motivates you because you're serving more than yourself. And so for me, the beliefs that I had to believe was that even if I had to go against the world, against the community that I'm in right now, I know that I'm provided for and I'm protected. And that means showing up, understanding my worth first. That means sitting with myself, talking to my inner child, my little Nicolette, and the future version of Nicolette, and understanding, aligning. All three of us would align ourselves and say, okay, this is where I want to be. Are you with me or not? Okay. And never let the chaos of the world to disrupt my peace. Once I get that grounded and sorted, the next part is being authentic, showing up the way that I want to show up in this future version of myself. And number three, naturally, when you do that, you will be abundant. And this is why this is the framework that I have, the method that I have. And those are the beliefs I would say that I had to really come to terms with and reframe them so that it'll serve me instead of bring me down.
Yeah, I really love the quote that you threw in there about the helping other people and how life is just better when you're helping somebody else and not just living for yourself. And and that's
Yes.
part of why I do this is just to think that I could change the life of that one person. They might hear one podcast and be like, "Oh well, you know what? That's what I needed to hear." And it's going to push them to be better.
Exactly. Exactly. That achieving, yeah, I want to congratulate you too, Travis, for, taking the leap to start the podcast yourself. I mean, even though at first you were, I'm sure you had all these feelings like, oh, what would people think of me? And actually showing myself up to showing my face to the social media, talking like, I'm sure you've had some things, some
Yeah,
questions in your head or some beliefs that you had about yourself.
there's been a lot of
And
self doubt for sure.
exactly. Exactly. And you're here right now. You're 20 episodes in. And kudos, kudos, kudos. I just
Thank
wanna
you, thank you,
just wanna recognize you for your work.
thank you. And your podcast, remind the listeners what the name of your podcast is.
Yeah, it is kind of unique. People thought it was a satirical podcast. The name of the podcast is You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Um, the name, how it came about, was just very simple. I felt myself. That was the narrative I had for a while, actually, especially since the divorce. I felt worthless, nothing. I felt like I was worth nothing at work. I was worth nothing in the love department. I was worth nothing. And so that started my own journey. That's the question that I ask everybody and also my clients. I ask them, who are you without your jobs, without your titles, without your accomplishments, or without your failures? Are you, if you have the heart of just feeding one stray cat, this, I know this is random, but that is who you are. Not because you have this failure of not being able to close a 100,000 deal. No, I want you to remember that. Okay.
Thinking about that, I don't know if like a year ago I could have told people who I was without I was that person stuck in a corporate job, dealing with like parenting at night, three young kids. But I feel like this last year for me has also kind of been a transformative time in my life to figure out who I am. I'm realizing that after you've kind of said things.
I'm glad that shed some light in your own journey too, Travis.
So this is one question, pretty generalized, that I ask every person on here that comes onto the show, just because I like to hear the different answers, I should say. What do you think is the biggest stigma related to mental health?
That it should not be talked about. And we're breaking that stigma right now. I just mentioned both men and women, they all face this differently. But in some way, shape, or form, they all face mental health. And I want to say there's so many avenues that people could go to just to talk about what they're feeling. Now, if you feel like you lost your sense of direction, it's okay. It's just your old self shedding. And people, if they care enough about themselves, they would go online, they would start listening to podcasts, they would start. But if those listening to this right now, those are the very people that actually they actually love themselves. They're trying to find, they're grappling with, who can actually help me or hear me out. So I want to tell other people to tuning in right now, if you are seeing somebody around your circle who's actually showing that, oh, they're happy all the time, number one, they are probably not that happy. Just check in. And then the other group of people is they're sad. I think you should also check in and make that a habit. Now, I too had to be discerning about the friends that I had to let go before, and that comes after that. So when you're letting go of these people in your life, hold on to that one person that actually share the same values as you are. And it could be your family member, maybe family members too close, but if you can confide in that one person, it could be a coach, it could be, I don't know, it could be a teacher, it could be a cousin that you're most comfortable with. Just speak out and speak up. And for you as another person, just be aware and vigilant to those around you. I would say that's the stigma that people are saying that mental health shouldn't be brought up. But right now, I can see most of the podcasts. If, okay, I don't know the statistics, but a lot of podcasts out there. I think right now we have what, 4 million podcasts released worldwide, and a big chunk of that is on mental health. And so I want to say you have help. And because I'm in Asia too, now in Western and Asian countries, I see, I'm not too sure about, I guess, where you come from, Travis, therapy is it's accepted. And for us in Asia, before at least, this is a very taboo topic because therapy means why are you not, the question that often comes up is why are you not able to solve your own problems? Why do you have to tell people? And it's not right because you need help. You people are wired to, we all are wired, we are social creatures. And that's why since ancient times we have tribes, right? We thrive in a tribe, and we crave for that connection. Now the next thing that comes in, you should say what type of connection, or the tribe that you're cultivating, the nurturing part. And so I know this is straying, I'm veering off course from your question, but then I would say coming back, mental health, reach out, and as a person, be aware and talk to the person next to you. I know it's simple, it's easier said than done, but trust me, I oh yeah, I forgot. There's one more. There was a video I saw online. There's this a guy, a boy, he was 14, and then they were playing some online streaming. They were on online streaming platform, and then he got connected to a person. They started talking, and then the 14-year-old boy suddenly said, "Oh, hey, I don't know why, but somebody just before you came in and said you should kill yourself." And why, why, right? And it it you I mean, and that person actually stayed with him and started talking. They were just vibing and said, "Hey, don't kill yourself." And that moment actually, saved his life. I know it might not be, if he was in that mind, in that mindset, or in the state of mind of suicidal ideation, they probably would already start thinking, I would take that as a confirmation from the universe. But no, that one moment, or that one choice, that one word that you spoke to that person could be the very thing that determines whether they continue to be on this planet Earth or not. So be careful and just spread love and be compassionate to yourself and others.
Yeah, can I expand on that? What you just said about the two kids talking. So
Yes.
I have a friend that I suffer from depression and anxiety. I have a friend that has some of the same stuff, and I've always kept in close contact with this buddy of mine. And I think it was probably about a year or two ago, I learned that he had some stuff come up, some stuff that I didn't know about him, like dealing with suicide.
Right.
And he we got into just that tough conversation of speaking about it, and he let it all out in the open. I was like, dude, like, why didn't you let me know? Like, I thought we were closer than this. But now he's like my go-to person, since we have that common ground of I've suffered from suicide ideation as well. Now we have that common ground. So every once in a while, like, we both just reach out to each other, like, how are you doing today? Like, is there anything I could do for you? And just having that one person to speak to does wonders.
Yes. Yes. Ooh, I had chills. Yes. And I you said it best, Travis. And you're doing it. And I want people here tuning in right now, if they've have had thoughts such as that, um, Travis is here and probably could reach out to you. You know, they could reach out to me as well. And if they're not comfortable talking to strangers, then by all means, just talk to somebody.
And don't be afraid to speak up. I know for a fact that it's hard to be vulnerable. I've had to do it,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's
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 crucial.
worth, yeah, it's crucial, exactly. Uh, Now one kind of a few last little questions here. So you mentioned your coaching company. What's next for Nick Nierras and the holistic lifestyle brand?
Okay, what's next? Thank you for asking. So right now, there is my coaching program. Obviously, it's one to one, and I have 3 month program, 6 month, and a year program. If you want to give it a try, I also have one session which is 3 hours, 2 hours deep dive into hypnotherapy, subconscious reprogramming, understanding your current issues and how your old issues come up, these issues is presented today. And then one post integration, coaching and integration session as one. I also have digital products for those people who may be in the corporate world and saying, oh, I don't have time for this yet, but I want to see what Nicolette has to offer. They can go to that. But really, next thing is I am actually talking. Yeah, I spoke about this with a guest that I had on yesterday, and I will be doing a group coaching. I think it's better. I think it could be there could be a better response in a way that people are not so they're not so afraid because they see other people in the same group, and they could sort of that the ice can be they can form a connection as they'll bond over something similar, and it's better for me and it's better for them. So in a way that I let them, I facilitate but then after that, I let them talk among themselves, discuss, and then who knows, they probably could hit it off and become friends for a lifetime. I don't know. And that's group coaching. Number three would be my retreat. I am planning a retreat that is next year. I'm not sure of the location just yet, but maybe somewhere in Asia or in the States. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So I'm very excited about this. And right now, the next thing is that having a monthly or a quarterly mastermind with some of the guests on my show, talk about mental health, either that or spirituality, because I'm very big on that as well, and self worth, personal development journey. So right now, those are in the pipeline.
Sounds like you have some big plans. I love it. Pushing forward to helping people. Always good stuff. And where can the listeners find you?
Okay. Yes. Hello. Thank you for spending about an hour with me and Travis. If you are resonating with anything that I've mentioned, what Travis has just mentioned, if you want to find me, I'm everywhere on social media, but I'm mostly active on LinkedIn and Instagram. But you can find everything about me through my website. That is the Nick Nierras, that is my name, and holisticlifestyle.com. So you can find my appearances on podcasts, my own podcast, interviewing other experts, and also my offerings in terms of my intuitive work and my lifestyle, my coaching work. And I'm also available on social media, Instagram, TikTok. What else? For my podcast, I'm on Spotify and I am on YouTube. So again, the name of my podcast is You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. I've had people coming to me saying, maybe you should rebrand because you're now everywhere else is like holistic lifestyle, but now it's You're Worthless. I don't know. Maybe I will, but I kind of like the name because that was the very thing that got me into podcasting.
I like the name because to me it's memorable.
Yeah, right? It's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then, I mean, it's a natural transition from you feeling worthless. I bring people on to actually not talk about, them feeling worthless and how their own hero's journey. And then I move into my own offerings, which is how do you move from A to B and then reframe your beliefs and then become abundant in your own, define abundance in your own terms.
Is there anything that we have not discussed that you would like to bring up?
Okay. I Okay, I'm gonna put one more out on my offering. So
Oh,
in
go
terms of my
for it.
offers, I have free hypnosis audio that is a guided meditation on 4 top challenges in the world right now. That's number 1 is wealth wiring, wealth mindset wiring, deep uninterrupted sleep, weight management, and also public speaking. So this is an element of my coaching where we go deep dive into hypnosis. And you do this, you download this, and then you'll get access. Download this first and listen to it for 21 days. And if you like it, this is where you can come and work with me on your coaching, whatever issues that you want to overcome. And for the next part is the message that I want to impart to the listeners today is that in the sense of self-worth, I'm sure, I hope this has stirred something within your soul to take some action. And that action could be as small as writing down what you aspire to do. And tomorrow, probably thinking about how I could do it. Take that one step and plant that seed, have that faith, the mustard seed, right? The parable. What you do now, trust me, you keep at it, it's going to add up in the future. And it is just going to be, I don't want to say, if you want to become an expert on something, you have to put in the work. And putting in the work means doing it, taking it as slow as you can, but not stopping. So if it's going to take you 5 years, 10 years, then be it. But know that you're showing up authentically already. So yeah.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much for coming on the show and being your authentic self.
Thank you so much for letting me share my story on your platform and with your audience. Thank you so much, Travis.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you to all the listeners out there. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to listen to this podcast. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Overcome Pod. The best thing you can do for us right now is to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and all the other major podcast platforms. Share our stuff, like it, do whatever you can to get our word out there. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.
Thank you, Travis.